Hey guys, I'm T and welcome to the channel. Today's tutorial is giving clean, cool, and effortlessly modern. We're making a high neck crochet tank top using the lemon peel stitch for a subtle texture and a sleek silhouette. It's breathable, beginner friendly, and pairs perfectly with everything in your wardrobe. If you're new here, welcome. I share modern crochet patterns and tutorials every Wednesday and Sunday, so tell a friend, tap the bell, and subscribe so you never miss an upload. And if you enjoy the video, give it a big thumbs up if you like it, or 2 thumbs down if you don't. Either way, it's a great way to support the channel to help keep these tutorials free. So without further ado, here's how to make your own lemon peel stitch high neck crochet tank. For this project, any category 4 yarn will work, but I used a total of 175 grams of yarn. That's 395 yards if you're stateside. As for tools, a 5.5mm hook, scissors, stitch markers, and a tape measure. There is a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount off any $9.99 plus order, and stick to the end of the video to hear about this week's pattern giveaway. We're using 4 stitches for this project, and they'll be as follows: chain, slip stitch, single crochet, and double crochet. This tutorial is made for a size small. You can adjust it for your size, and we'll explain how to in the video, so let's get started. Getting this top started, we're all going to grab our category 4 yarn and make a slip knot. Then we're all going to grab our 5.5mm hook and start off by making an even number chain that starts 1 inch underneath our underarm down to like the bottom of this top to be. I'd like for mine to be full length, so I'm going to start by making a chain 50, that's roughly 13 inches or 33 centimeters. And I actually already have this portion of my piece completed, so I'm just going to be doing a small sample size with you. So what we're going to do once we have our chain is block off that last chain and do a chain 1. That chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch, that's our turning chain. Then into the chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, we're going to start our lemon peel stitch, and that's just going to be 1 single crochet into the chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook. Once our single crochet is completed, we're now going to do a double crochet. So yarn over, into that following chain, pull through. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, into that following chain, insert with 1 single, into that following chain, insert with 1 double crochet. From here, we're going to continue to alternate between 1 single crochet and 1 double crochet until we all have 1 chain left. We've made our way down with our first row, leaving that last chain. Now into that last chain, we're all going to do an increase of 3 double crochets. So we're all going to yarn over. Into that last chain, we're going to insert with 1 double crochet. Into that same last chain with a second double crochet. Then into that same last chain with a third double crochet, and now everyone's row 1 is complete. We should all have 2 more stitches than chains that we made. Now we are going to need to increase into our following row as well, so we're all going to chain 3 and flip. This row is going to start with an increase of 3 double crochets as well, so yarn over. Inserting into that first stitch, we're going to insert with 1 double crochet, into the same first stitch with a second, and into the same first stitch with a third double crochet. Now that our increase is completed, we're going to lemon peel stitch all the way down. So for our even number rows, we're going to yarn over after we do our increase. Then into that following stitch, just do 1 double crochet. Then from here, we're going to continue to alternate. So into that next stitch, 1 single crochet, into that next stitch, 1 double crochet. From here, continue to alternate between 1 single crochet and 1 double crochet until we reach the end of the row. We are back and everyone's row 2 is now completed. Again, we should all have 1 more stitch than our previous row. Now it's just going to be a repeat of these 2 previous rows for this portion of the body. So let's just do the following 2 rows to get started. To get started on any odd number row, we're all going to chain 1, flip our work, start with 1 single crochet into the first stitch, 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and continue to alternate until we all have just 1 stitch left. Now, as a really quick tip, when it comes to doing our lemon peel stitches, our stitches need to be staggered from the previous row. So my following stitch is a single crochet from my previous row. We can tell because it's a little bit shorter than the rest. 1 double crochet is always going to be worked into a top of a single crochet. 1 single crochet is always going to be worked into the top of the double crochets. This is my following double crochet. We can tell that it's a double crochet because it's a little bit taller, and insert with a single. Our row 3 is nearly completed. We should have all left 1 stitch, so into that last stitch, an increase of 3 double crochets. So that's just 3 double crochets all into that last stitch. Now once when our row 3 is completed, we're going to get started on our row 4. So chain 3 and flip. Our even number rows is going to start with an increase of 3 double crochets, so yarn over. Into that first stitch, insert with 1. Same first stitch, insert with a second. Same first stitch, insert with a third double crochet. Then to continue on with our lemon peel stitch, into that following stitch, just put 1 double crochet. So into that next is going to be a single. Into that following is going to be a double, and just continue to repeat all the way down. Our first 4 rows are completed. What we're all going to do from here is continue to repeat our 2 previous rows until our work can reach from 1 inch underneath our underarm, so placing our tail end still at 1 inch underneath our underarm until the increase point can reach the base of our neck. Now, just as some really quick tips, we are working on the back panel first. This width of the underarm portion may not be the width that we need to reach from our mid underarm to the base of our neck, but we will add more width to the front panel's underarm to ensure the width will sit where we need it to sit. The most important thing that we need right now is just this height. And also, in measuring this up to yourself, be sure to place the tail end still at 1 inch underneath our underarm, and if you need to slightly drag it over to the front of your body, make sure that it's still staying roughly 1 inch underneath our underarm, just to make sure that we have the right height that we need for this neckline. And that's just to ensure that our armhole doesn't become too big or too small. But like I said, I'll meet everyone back right after an odd number row that will be along the top, then we can work on the width of the neckline together from there. And this is actually my underarm portion for the back panel. I have a total of 9 rows. This width is just about 3 inches or 8 centimeters, and the increase height that I have is just about 18.5 inches or 50 centimeters. Now from here, what we're going to do is just our lemon peel stitches, no increases, no decreases. But right before we do that, make sure we're inserting a stitch marker into this last underarm row. Now once one of our stitch markers in place, we're all going to chain 1 and flip our work. Now that we've flipped our work, we're going to make our way down with our lemon peel stitch, and that's just going to start with 1 single crochet into the first stitch, then 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and again 1 single crochet into the next, 1 double crochet into the next until we reach the end of the row. Our first neckline row is complete. Now what we're going to do from here is just continue to repeat this previous row, so it's just a lemon peel stitch with no increases, no decreases, until we have a portion that can reach across our chest to the other side of the base of our neck. Then I'll meet everyone back right after an even number row that will be along the bottom, that we can finish up our back panel with our other underarm portion together from there. My neckline is complete. I now have a total of 20 rows. This width is just about 6 inches or 15 centimeters. Now we're going to do the second underarm portion. We all should be along the bottom. So to get started on our first decrease row, we're going to chain 1, flip our work, lemon peel stitch all the way up, leaving the last 3 stitches. I worked my way up with my lemon peel stitches, leaving the last 3 stitches. Now we're all going to do a decrease of 3 double crochets, so yarn over. Into that third to last stitch, pull through, second to last, pull through, and last, pull through for a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops on our hook. Then yarn over, pull through the first 4 loops to get 2 loops on our hook, then yarn over, pull through the last 2. Now that is our first decrease row. We want to make sure that we're inserting a stitch marker into the top of that stitch to match this one over here. Then to do our second decrease row, chain 3 and flip. Then from here, start this row off with a decrease of 3 doubles again. Yarn over, into that first, pull through. Next stitches, pull through, and next, pull through again for a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 4, yarn over, pull through 2. Now after that decrease, working our way down, we're going to insert into that next stitch, which we can see it is a single crochet from our previous row because it's a little bit shorter. We're going to insert with a double crochet. Then from here, continue with 1 single, 1 double to reach the end of the row. We are back and our first 2 underarm rows are completed. From here, we're going to continue to repeat these 2 previous rows until we have the same amount of underarm rows that we started this piece off with. Now just as a reminder, this is the back panel. Once we have the same amount of rows as the first underarm portion, it likely will not be the width that we need for the back panel, but we are going to add more width when it comes to doing the front panel. Go ahead and get this side completed. Once we have all the rows we need, do a chain up 1 and cut, then I'll meet you back. We have just completed our second underarm portion. Now my width is just about 8.5 inches or 22 centimeters. Now from here, we're going to get started on the front panel. So I actually already have that portion completed, so I'm just going to be doing a small sample size with you. What we're going to start is by making the same even number chain that when we got started on the back panel's underarm portion. So once we have our chain, we're all going to block off that last chain and do a chain 1. Then we're going to do a lemon peel stitch row all the way down. So into that chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, we're going to start with 1 single crochet. Into that next chain, 1 double crochet. Continue to alternate between 1 single crochet and 1 double crochet into every chain. I just completed my first row. From here, it's going to be another row of lemon peel stitch. So chain 1, flip our work into that first stitch with 1 single, into that next stitch with a double crochet. Continue alternating between a single and a double crochet to reach the end of the row, and this is going to be where we get the width of our front panel from. And for this portion of our front panel, like I said, we're just going to continue to do our lemon peel stitch, no increases, no decreases, until we have a portion that gives us the width that we want. Now, a really great way to figure out how many rows for this underarm front portion that we need would be to place the back panel next to this underarm portion when we have a handful of rows, and we're just going to pinch them next to each other and put this up to ourselves and place the neckline where it would sit when the whole piece is completed, so at the center of our chest. Then we're just going to continue to do a few rows until this reaches mid underarm. Then once we have that amount of rows, we're just going to repeat the same amount of rows just so that we get the width that we need for the back panel and the width that we need for the front panel as well, and it's not too wonky on either side. Now, the total amount of width that I needed for this underarm portion was just about 2.5 inches or 6 centimeters. That's roughly 6 rows for me. It does need to end on an even number for everyone, but once we have this portion completed, we can then get started on the front panels, underarm, neckline, and underarm. So now that we have this, we're going to do our first increase underarm row. So we're going to chain 1, flip our work, make our way down with our lemon peel stitches, leaving the last stitch, then I'll meet everyone back. Our first increase underarm row is nearly completed. We should all have 1 stitch left. Just like how we did for the back panel, into that last stitch, we're all going to do an increase of 3 double crochets. So there's my first, there's my second, there's my third double crochet, all into that last stitch. Now, I do want to make sure that we're inserting a stitch marker into the top of that row. And all we're going to do from here is continue to do the same underarm portion that we did for the back panel, the same neckline, and the same underarm portion. We want to make sure that we're inserting our stitch markers into the same side rows that we did for the back panel. And then once we have the second underarm for the front panel completed, I'll meet everyone back so we can finish up with the rest of the front panel's width. So we have just completed the front panel's underarm, the neckline, and the second underarm portion. Now we're just going to work in with the underarm width, basically the same way that we started off the first one. We do want to make sure that we're inserting a stitch marker into our last underarm row to match this first underarm row right here. Then from here, all we're going to do is chain 1, flip our work, lemon peel stitch all the way down, no increases, no decreases, for the same amount of rows that we have on this side. Once we have the same amount of rows, do a chain up of 1 and cut, then I'll meet everyone back so we can seam everything together. We have just completed the entirety of our front panel. Now I have a total of 14 inches or 36 centimeters. Now from here, we're going to seam both of our panels together. So go ahead and place your back panel on top of your front panel. Then we're going to fold our underarm width for the front panel over, and we're going to seam these two together. So go ahead and do that, then insert your hook into the bottom corner stitch of both the front and the back panel. So now that our hook is in through the bottom corner stitch of both the front and the back panel, we're going to pull our working yarn through and do a chain up of 1 to secure. Now we're going to do a single crochet seam. So into that first stitch into the front panel, insert, first stitch into the back panel, insert, and single crochet. Again, next stitch into the front panel, next stitch into the back panel, and single crochet, and that's it. We're going to continue on with our single crochet seam until we don't have any more stitches left to work into. When we don't, do a chain up of 1 and cut, then repeat on the other side. Alright, so we have just completed seaming everything together. Now we're going to single crochet along our armholes so that we can prep for the strap. Now, as a really quick tip, our front panel is going to be the panel that is clean. If we flip our work over, my seams are along the inside, by the way. This seam is going to be along the back panel because we want to be able to hide this just a little bit more. Now, what we're all going to do from here is take a look at the front panel first, and we're all going to insert our hook into the top corner stitch of our front panel's underarm and working down towards our next stitch marker, 2 single crochets into every side row. So go ahead and insert your yarn onto your hook, pull through, and do a chain up of 1 just to secure. Then working our way down, we're going to be putting 2 single crochets into every side row. So I'm going to take out the stitch marker for now. And into my first side row, this is mine right here, I'm going to find that top loop and insert with 2 single crochets. So there's 1 into that same top loop with a second. Again, this is my following side row. So find that top loop, insert with one, same top loop with a second, and continue doing this until we're worked into our following stitch marker stitch. We've just worked our way down our underarm with our single crochets. Now working across our underarm, we are going to alternate between 1 to 2 single crochets into every side row until we reach our seam. So finding our first side row, we're going to start with 1 single crochet. So this is my first side row right here. I'm going to find that top loop and insert with just 1 single crochet. Into my following side row, which is this one, I'm going to find that top loop and insert with 2 single crochets. Again, this is my next side row. I'm going to insert in through there with just 1. Into my next side row, I'm going to insert in through there with 2 and continue on with this until we reach our side seam. We've just single crocheted across the top of our underarm. We have reached our side seam. Now working our way up until we're worked into our following stitch marker. 2 single crochet into each of those side rows as well. Once we reach that, do a chain of 1 cut, then repeat on the other side. Once we have both completed, I'll meet everyone back. We have just completed single crocheting around both of our armholes. Now we're going to do our strap. So what we're going to do is make sure that our work is still flipped right side out, right side up. We're going to insert our hook into the top left corner stitch of our front panel. Then we're going to start with single crochets for the length that we'd like for the strap to be. I'd like for mine to be just about 1.5 inches or 3 centimeters. So working our way down towards our underarm, I'm going to do a total of 6 single crochets. So go ahead and get your yarn on your hook. So we're going to pull our working yarn through and do a chain up of 1 to secure. That chain doesn't count as a stitch. Then starting with that same stitch that our chain is in and working our way down, I am going to put 1 single crochet into each of the next 6 stitches. I just made my way down with my single crochets. Now we're going to do our following row, which is a back loop slip stitch row, so chain 1 and flip. Now we're going to find that first stitch from our previous row, insert into that back loop or the loop that's furthest away from us, yarn over and gently pull through everything. Again, into that next stitch is back loop, insert, yarn over and gently pull through everything and continue with 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. At the end of the row, we're going to chain 1, flip our work and continue with 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch again, and that's it. This is going to be the strap portion. So we're just going to continue on with our back loop slip stitch row. No increases, no decreases. Then I'll meet everyone back right after an even number row so that we can connect it to the other side. And just as a really quick tip, after every slip stitch, make sure that we're not tugging through too tightly, otherwise the following row will be a little too tight to work into. And as a really quick question, Chief and I would like to know, would you guys consider this a strap or a collar? I say strap, he says collar. Let us know your thoughts down below. So we are back. I have just completed doing my back loop slip stitch rows for my strap. Now including my single crochet row, I did a total of 14 rows. That's just about 3 inches or 8 centimeters unstretched. Now from here, we're going to seam it to the back. So let's go ahead and flip our work wrong side out and take a look at the back panel. Now this is going to be the same seam that we did for the sides, so just to talk you guys through it, we're going to be inserting our hook into the top corner stitch of both the strap and the back panel since we all should have ended along the top. We're going to do the same single crochet seam that we did for the side, but when this one's completed, do not do a chain up a wooden cut just in case if we need to adjust it when we get the other side done. So go ahead and get the seam into place, then I'll meet you back. We are back and our first strap is all seamed up and into place, and instead of cutting, I just inserted my stitch marker into there in case if I needed to adjust. Now what we're going to do from here is pretty much the same thing as this side. We just want to make sure that we're showing the front of the single crochet row first, just to make sure that everything is super clean. So taking a look at the front panel, making sure that our work is flipped right side out, we're now going to insert our hook into the same amount of single crochets that we made for our first single crochet row. So for those of you that have my numbers, I did a total of 6 single crochets. So from this top corner stitch, I'm going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and start by inserting my hook in through there. Then working my way up towards the top, I'm going to put 1 single crochet into every stitch, then do back loop slip stitch rows for the same amount of rows that we did for this side over here. Once we have the same amount of rows, I will meet you back. We have just completed our right strap. Now we're going to seam it to the back panel, so go ahead and flip your work wrong side out and over so that we're looking at the back as well. Now this seam is going to be pretty simple, pretty much done the same way as all of our other seams so far, but since we are along the bottom, because remember the first one we were along the top, we're just going to count down the same amount of stitches that we have for our strap. So for me that would be 6, insert our hook into that stitch, and then seam working our way up. Once we have that, go ahead and try your piece on, and now would be the time to adjust the neckline, so add some rows or take some rows away if you guys need to on both sides to make sure that everything is fitting. Then once we have that completed, go ahead and do a chain up one and cut around everything. So we are back. We have just completed both of our straps. Everything is fitting nicely, so I did do a chain up of 1 and cut. Now once when that is done, we are actually all done. The last one we have to do is simply weave in all of our ends. And there you have it. Hope y'all enjoyed the tutorial. Enter this week's pattern giveaway by telling us if there's a word that's hard for you to spell or say. I always have a hard time spelling the word definitely. Details for the giveaway down below. Join us on Instagram, Pinterest, or Twitter. Those links are down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Catch you on the next one. Bye.